Good Thursday morning. Hope this finds you doing well. We're going to find our thought today from Ecclesiastes chapter 3. This is sort of, in a way, a carryover from yesterday's devotion. Not the same thought, not the same exact theme, but it goes hand in hand in what we talked about yesterday morning. Ecclesiastes chapter 3. To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven. A time to be born and a time to die. A time to plant and a time to pluck up that which is planted. A time to kill and a time to heal. A time to break down and a time to build up. A time to weep and a time to laugh. A time to mourn and a time to dance. A time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones together. A time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. A time to get and a time to lose. A time to keep and a time to cast away. A time to rend and a time to sow. A time to keep silence and a time to speak. A time to love and a time to hate. A time of war and a time of peace. What profit hath he that worketh in that wherein he laboureth? I have seen the travail which God hath given to the sons of men to be exercised in it. He hath made everything beautiful in his time. Also he has set the world in their heart, so that no man can find out the work that God maketh from the beginning to the end. I know that there is none good in them, but for a man to rejoice and to do good in his life, and also that every man should eat and drink and enjoy the good of his labor. It is the gift of God. I want to go back and read one verse to you, and this is where we're really going to take our main text. Verse number 11. Verse number 11. He hath made everything beautiful in his time. He hath made everything beautiful in his time. You know, sometimes we look at life and we look at what's going on in our life and we question, God, when are you going to come and change this situation around for me? Or you might look at the situations in your life and you think, what a big mess I've made in my life. How do I get out of this mess? Or you might be at a place where you look around and you say, oh, I am so unhappy at where I'm at. And I'm not just talking about location-wise. It might be the condition of your heart. It might be the situations that you're going through. But this scripture says that he hath made everything beautiful in his time, not our time, but his time. I got to thinking about this today, and I was thinking of about 2 or 3 different instances in my life that I've saw things that I thought was ugly or unbecoming become beautiful. I'm going to give you the most recent thing that I can compare this to in the natural. We have a friend that likes to go to thrift stores, and her life revolves around thrift stores, and she's a friend of ours. And so my mom decided we would take her to her favorite thrift store over in Kentucky. So we picked her up, and me and Mom took her to Kentucky to her favorite thrift store. And while she was shopping, of course, we shopped. And while there, Mom saw a wreath that was for sale for 10 cents. Now, Mom had already, in her mind, thought she'd like to have a wreath for her front door for Christmas. But Mom saw this wreath for 10 cents. And I'm telling you, I've seen some wreaths in my life, but this was the ugliest wreath I'd ever seen before. And when she said she'd like to buy it for 10 cents, I knew it was a good buy for 10 cents. Don't get me wrong. But I thought, I cannot imagine this ugly thing on our front door. And Mom says, oh, I'm going to buy a ribbon for it. And I'm going to have our friend rewrap it in some ribbon. And it'll look pretty for our front door. And I just could not see it. I couldn't imagine it. But Mom bought the wreath for 10 cents. And then in a couple weeks, she went and got ribbon. And even I went in and helped pick out the ribbon. And I still could not see it in my mind. We took the wreath and this new ribbon over to our friend, the same friend that we took to the store, to the thrift store. And Mom asked her to work on this wreath. She took the ribbon that Mom and I had bought, and rewrapped that wreath. And then she had a little bird decoration that she added to it. And I've got to tell you that when that wreath came back to us, what I could not picture as beautiful did become a nice wreath for our front door. I couldn't see it in my mind. I saw the wreath with my natural eye. I saw the new ribbon with my natural eye. But in my mind's eye, and usually I can see things, but I just could not imagine this wreath looking beautiful. But what I couldn't see, Mom could see, and it became beautiful. And that's how God is. There are so many people we might, in our minds, think that person is so far out in sin or so away from God, I cannot see how God can ever do a work in that person's life. But can I tell you, in His own time, if you will let God work it out and give it over to God, God can make everything beautiful in His own time. Another instance I want to tell you about is when Beth and I were first married. I don't think we had even been married a year. It might have been just over a year. We moved back to Beth's hometown. And we had moved to Marion, to Beth's hometown, and then we had moved to the northern part of Indiana, to Warsaw, Indiana. Then we moved back to Marion. When we moved back to Marion, in looking for some place to move into immediately, the only place in our price range that we could move into was a 2-car garage that somebody had converted over to a little apartment. They had done this years before. And so when we looked at this place, I knew we was desperate to find a place. It was good and clean, but it just looked drab. To me, the place looked drab. But I knew we had to have a place to live. So I agreed to move in, and I said to Beth on the way back to her parents' house where we were staying at that time, I said, Beth, I just don't know about this. And she says, if you will just give me time, I'll make that house a home. Now think about that phrase. I'll make that house a home. And so while I was at work, she went over there and started taking our stuff over and decorating the walls. So when she picked me up from work that night, I was working at Walmart in the pharmacy still. And she took me over there and she said, I want you to see your home. And when I walked in, I could not believe what Beth had done. She had took our decorations, what little decorations we had, pictures of, decorative pictures and all that we had. And she had made that living room look beautiful. I'm telling you, absolutely beautiful. What I could not see the night or two before that, Beth had done exactly what she said. She made that house a home, and we lived there for a little while. And I'm going to tell you that when I look back in my mind's eye of a place that was very cozy, very warm, a very good time in our life, that home was a good memory in my mind. Even the landlord came over, and this landlord and his wife, they were from Kentucky. They were just like my mother's family. They were very Southern. And she came over, and I remember she came over and her eyes got real big, and she looked around and she looked at me. She says, "Honey, I've never seen this place look this good before. You did a good job, honey." And Beth would always laugh about that. She'd always bring that up. And she said, "Yeah," she said, "Honey, you'd made this place look good, honey." Anyway, Beth made that, what I couldn't see, all I saw was drab. But Beth said, "I'm going to take this house and make it a home." Now, here's the thing. In our earthen vessels, we are nothing. We are nothing. Okay? I said in my devotion yesterday, when I came to Jesus, as the song said, all I had to offer him was brokenness and strife. But he made something beautiful of my life. See, my house that I let him in, he came in and made it his home. But when he made it his home, he came in and he did a work of art in my life. And he made that house, that earthen vessel, into his home. And just like Beth made it beautiful, I could not make my life beautiful. But he made something beautiful out of my life. Well, that's two little stories that I wanted to share with you. But my thought is this today, is that no matter how bleak you think that the existence is around you, or how bleak you think your life is right now, if you will just give it over to God, God will take what you think is a mess, what you think is ugly, and God will make it beautiful in his own time. But you've got to let him be the master craftsman. You got to let him take charge of your life.
Grant me serenity to accept things, the things I cannot change. Grant me the courage, Lord, to change what I can, wisdom to know the difference. In my weakness you can shine, in your strength I can fly.
And you make everything, everything beautiful. You make everything, everything new. You make everything, everything beautiful. In its time, in your time, it's beautiful. Grant me serenity, Lord, and patience
In its time, it's beautiful.